Hello again, everybody. It's 1 minute past 3, and I see that there's about 21, well, including myself, that's 20 participants that are already online. Thank you so much for coming in such large numbers. I think that's most of us, so I think we could definitely already start the program. As Francis said, I'm presenting today, giving guidance, providing guidance for filling the online report. Many of you might know Frances Fulton already. She is a program analyst, and she does the site visits. So you are most likely very familiar with her, as she is familiar with your projects. And she has in-depth experience with the reporting process for the AFJ. I am Tsiry Rakoto. I am the program officer that's working with the AFJ. I'll be presenting the general guidelines for the new online report and sharing with you how to fill that in, where to find the online portal, and also some highlights in regards to key information that would need to be filled inside the report itself. For the first 20 minutes, we're going to have a presentation, so I invite everybody to stay muted during that time period. Afterwards, we're going to have a 10-minute question and answer phase where it's going to be interactive. It's going to be an opportunity to exchange ideas and share more about the reporting process. So I'm very excited about that piece. Also, I'd like to kind of give an outline in regards to the different sections that we're going to be going over. So I'm going to show you that inside the format of the reporting, which includes information about the organization, information about the project, a narrative, the narrative piece of the reporting, a beneficiary story section, and then also there's going to be a financial report section. I'd like to acknowledge first that we have our intern that's taking care of operations for us today. So she's manning the Zoom call, and that's Lily. So thank you so much, Lily, for doing that. And also I'd like to acknowledge our president, who's also present here today, Wendy Hart. So thank you so much for joining us today, Wendy. As you see on this first slide, we have the link to the report portal. And please don't worry about taking notes about the end of, but in order to have access to the portal where you'll be submitting in September and in March about the project that you're implementing, the website would be on our website, afj.org, under grants, and there, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, you'll find the button to submit the grant report. So it's on our website. Again, all this information is going to be emailed to you. So no need to take any notes at this point. I hope you're able to just enjoy and soak in the information as it comes. So as mentioned earlier, we're going to go over 4 different sections during this webinar. The organizational information and contact. So then we know which organization is doing the project, who's implementing it. The narrative report, and that section is more about the objectives, more about the implementation of the project itself. The beneficiary story is still related to the projects again, but this time it's talking about the people who are benefiting from the project, the work that's being done. And finally, the financial report, which also tells a story about how the research. Again, I'd like to remind you, if you have any questions, please keep hold on to those, hold on tight to the questions, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. First off, we have the organizational name inside. All of this, again, is on the portal. All of this is going to be an online form that you'll be submitting, and so you'll be entering all this information inside the portal in real time. So I would definitely advise that you prepare all of this information beforehand before actually going to the website and filling in the information. But this first section is the organization's name, the project name, the location, and the name and contact of the person that we could follow up with. So if there was any missing pictures, some further information that we'd like to have, or just to thank you for such a wonderful report, who would be that person that we would interface with, that we would speak with in order to get that information or to communicate that information with. So that's very important for us to have the contact name and email, and also to have the project name. And usually that's the same project name that you would have submitted inside your application. Next off, we have the narrative report. So this is the next section inside the online reporting form. And so we have here the purpose of the grant. So this is the project. When we have, as many of you know that have already received grants from the AFJ, there is something that we call the terms of grant. And the terms of grants covers the amount that's given to your organization, the purpose of the grant, some stipulations. It's an agreement. It's a contract between you and the AFJ in regards to the project and the work that we're going to be working together on. So in this section, we're proposing that you fill this section with exactly the same purpose of grant that's listed inside the terms of grant, and the same exact copying and pasting those sections inside this. We really want to make this process as easy and as accessible as possible. Next is the project start date. We know that when we do sign the terms of grant, oftentimes it's not necessarily the start of the project. So here's an opportunity to actually say this is the project start date, and also the estimated project end date. That would be filled in this section. Next is the number of beneficiaries. Numbers and data is so important for us, especially when we're communicating with our donors and sharing information about the impact that we're doing thanks to you through the work that you're doing implementing on the ground. So having the number of beneficiaries, direct beneficiaries, would help that a lot. So that would be question number 9. Following that is the objective. So this is still on the project. This is still about the project. This objective would be the same objective that you listed inside the application. We recommend having 2 objectives. If you have 3, that's great. There's an opportunity to fill that in. But 2 objectives will do just fine. We don't want to put any stress on you in regards to having any heavy lifting in that regard. So related to the objective, usually we recommend that the objective depicts the activity. So there's the activity, there's the duration, there's the why the activity is being done, and there's the location. Here there's an example to teach 15 teachers in Kingston during the 3-month summer break to improve skills and knowledge to educate at-risk middle school youth. So here we have a time frame, 3 months. We have the location, Kingston. We also have the why, to improve skills and knowledge. And incidentally, we also have the beneficiary, so to educate at-risk middle school youth, and also 15 teachers. In this case, we have 2 layers of beneficiaries. There's the direct beneficiaries for the training, the 15 teachers, and then there's the indirect beneficiaries who are the middle school youth. So that would be the objective. The next section, the next question is asking whether or not the objective was achieved. So here, I know that we're always very weary about sharing that, okay, it was not achieved, and there's a lot of pressure with that. There should not be a lot of pressure. On the contrary, if the objective was not achieved, we'd like to hear that too. That's very important for us to know how we could best support you and to understand the struggle that you're going through. Because, again, we're a bit removed from the work. You're more directly related to the work. You're on the ground. You're working directly with the beneficiaries. And for you to share with us the struggles and obstacles that you're going through helps us to have a better picture and a better idea of how we could best support you, and also advocate for you with our donors. So one example of filling this section in would be, yes, 15 teachers registered and completed the 5 courses for training. The training, however, did not take place during the summer due to delays in receiving permits for the training location. So here it's explaining that there was a delay. So they did not achieve the objective of doing it in the 3 summer months. It was done a bit later. It was delayed, but there was a solution, the resolution that was brought on in order to actually transform the objective to still benefit the teachers. So there's that aspect that really tells a really strong story in regards to the acknowledgement of obstacles that could occur and how that's resolved within the community and providing that support with the community. Is about the objective still, and still the project, but this time more about the beneficiaries. Again, we're very big about beneficiaries because that's why we're all here. We're trying to help and support communities and alleviate suffering as much as possible. So this next question is in regards to how much the target group benefited from it. So again, here this yes and no answer. So of the 15 teachers, 12 have shared that students' comprehension has improved and they feel more equipped to support their students' educational experience. 3 have not applied their skills, await schools to open. So here again, there is that explanation of why the objective was not completely beneficial to the teachers. And that helps to kind of shape the story and the context of the work that's being done. The next section, again, I encourage for you to take any notes and hold on to any questions that you'd like to ask till the very end. Here is the opportunity to fill in a third objective. So if you have another objective that you'd like to fill in, then that's great. It's not necessary. We really only encourage to require to. If there's a third objective that you'd like to fill in the same exact questions, so the objective, did you achieve the objective? Did the target group benefit from the objective? Then you would click yes. Otherwise, you would click no, and it will go straight to the next section. The next section is about beneficiaries. So here is the opportunity to give a face, a story, an illustration of how the work has impacted a specific person. In this section, we encourage including beneficiary quotes that animates the story a bit better. We also encourage to have images that illustrate the story. The size of the images should be 1 megabyte in size. That way we have the opportunity to use those images across different platforms. So we might use this on social media, we might use it in a report, but all of this will be used to benefit your project and benefit our communication with our donors so we could best support you. And then a caption to the image. So that's something that helps give context to the image. One image, they say, is better than 1,000 words, and it's even better when there's context to it. So if there's an image of a child or a teacher or someone, it's good to kind of put them inside context in regards to the project. So here's an example of that. Jane Smith is a teacher at the XYZ school attending the teacher training. In the picture, she is receiving the training packet from volunteers. So this clearly describes who's in the picture, why they're in the picture, and their relationship with the project. And that kind of helps tell the story as well. For the story itself, for the feature story, we're limiting it to 500 words. I feel that that's a lot of words already. So 500 words is the limit on the story, and we recommend that you submit 2 stories and 2 images with 2 captions. For the financial report. So for the financial report, here we recommend that you upload a budget that's in Excel format. And this is basically an updated budget of where you're at from the 6 months. And in order to make it easy on everyone, this whole reporting template, we have several questions that are related to the budget that easily give a snapshot of what's inside the Excel sheet. So what is the estimated planned expenditure for the past 6 months? So initially, before the 6 months, when you've just received the grant, there's always a planning process, right? So what is the estimated planned expenditure for the past 6 months? So initially, before the 6 months, when you've just received the grant, there's always a planning process, right? So at the beginning, you plan for the next 6 months, this is how much we're planning to use. And that would be the number that you would list here in number 16. How much is the actual expenditure for the past 6 months? So we have a plan. We estimated that that's how much we're going to be using. That's inside number 16. Number 17 is how much was actually spent. So the reason why this is important is because we could see that it tells the story as well. The discrepancy between how much was planned and how much was actually expended also tells a story in regards to this is actually what happened, that we had this plan in place. And then next, how much of the grant funding is remaining, and that just kind of helps reconcile the entire amount when we have that listed. And it's easy to have that snapshot of finances straight away through these numbers. Next is please share the itemized list of expenditures for the past 6 months. List items and cost in US dollars. So for this section, the reason why we're having this is so that we could you could upload receipts. So when you're uploading receipts, they might be jumbled, they might be confusing. This offers the opportunity for you to list them and putting an item number on it. So an example would be what's as listed here, round trip fare for 10 teachers with $10 per teacher, for a total of $100. And then you would basically number the receipt related to this. So we have the unit number, so there's 10 teachers. We have the cost of the unit, which is $10, and then we have the total amount. So one by one, you'd list down those things, and then the number should amount to the expenses. And so, yes, so here in this last question, question number 20, you have the opportunity to upload all of those receipts. And this helps us, again, be accountable to our donors who have been very generous in supporting the work that we do and the work that you're doing. And because, again, we're removed from the work that you're doing projects and wonderful work on the ground, but our donors are even more removed from that. So in order for us to communicate clearly in regards to the work that's being done and how that's being done, this helps us a lot to share that information, share that story. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for coming and participating. We're now going to enter into the question and answer section. In order for it to be a bit more orderly, I'm gonna suggest that you scroll over to, because if you hover over your screen, you should have a menu bar that appears. And on that menu bar, you have a microphone image that should have a red cross, a camera that should have a red cross across it, and then a section that says participants, and it should say 22 participants. If you click on participants, you should see a list of everybody who's attending, everybody who's there. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, on the very bottom of that square with all the list of participants, you have invite, mute me, and raise hand. So so people won't be talking all over each other and we're able to communicate clearly, I suggest that whoever has a question, press the button that says raise hand. And that way we could call upon you and you could ask your question. At this point, I'd like to also invite Francis and also Wendy to join in at any point if they feel that they could contribute. But thank you so much for attending, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you. Francis, I see your hand raised.
I raised my hand. Okay, so that works. One of the things I was going to say is some people often ask, why is our reporting period in this time scale that it is? And one of the reasons that we have our reports coming in during those times is because that is just prior to reporting directly to our board of directors at our annual meetings, biannual meetings. So even though sometimes the projects don't start a lot before, if depending on when the funding went out, maybe September, we're still in the planning stage and we haven't really done a lot on the ground up until then. We still need to let our directors know what is happening, and of course our donors know what is happening up to that point. So there is an opportunity, if it goes over the annual period, to give us an extra report the 6 months following your program, so that we know what happened at the end. I hope that's useful to somebody.
Thank you so much, Francis. I see that Lauren Creary has her hand up, so I will select you. I also invite you to say your name and also the name of your organization once you have a question. Thank you.
All right. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lauren Creary from the Jamaica Environment Trust. We had a project start last year, September, the Schools Environment Program, but because of COVID, we have had the majority or almost all project activities suspended since schools had closed in May. So I just wanted to know what is required of us now in terms of going forward. We are hoping to resume activities in September. The original project deadline the timeline was to end in June, but we haven't been able to do the activities because the schools were closed. So I just wanted to know what's required. If we plan to extend this project, we are hoping to resume activities in September and also have some activities in March next year. So it would be extended until the end of March. So I just wanted to know what you would need from us in terms of formally letting you know that that is the plan, and basically the expenditure would be different because the activities were suspended for that time.
Hi, Lauren, this is Wendy Hart. So maybe I should take this for you, Tsiry. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Tsiry, for putting together a really great presentation, and Francis, always for your input and interaction with all of our grantees. And I also would like to recognize Laura Tana, who chairs our grants committee, who has joined us for this call, involved in all of the process of selecting our grantees. You should actually, Lauren, contact us outside of this meeting. If anyone is not able to complete a project for whatever reason, goals change, COVID, whatever, we work with our grantees to see if there's something appropriate and similar. I believe actually your grant for SEP was a donor-directed grant. So in the case where there's a donor-directed grant, we usually communicate directly with the donor. So we normally invite you to communicate with us one-on-one in terms of other options for the grant. There are cases where there's no good fit and we actually ask for the funds to be returned. But if there's something that's similar, in some cases we've been able to either roll the funds or use it for a similar project. So it's a very individualized process.
Okay, thank you. We had sent an update email in May when we weren't too sure. And we were to submit a final report in June, but I had just submitted to Ms. Fulton a report that we had done up to our last activity and kind of just asking what we should do next. So I will definitely follow up with her to see what we can work out going.
Great. I think that's a good idea if you kind of talk it through with Francis and she'll sort of bring that conversation to us. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Wendy, and thank you for that question, Lauren. Thank you also for acknowledging our chair, our grant chair, Laura Tana. I am so sorry for that, but I'm so glad that you're able to join and attend with us today. Thank you. Do we have any more questions? I'm not seeing any more hands raised, so I'm hoping that that means that this was pretty straightforward and clear. Francis,
I couldn't find the thing about raising your hand on screen, but I would like to thank you, Tsiry. I thought that was an excellent presentation. It was very clear and really very thorough. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. And understood it, because I'm seeing that there's no more questions. So that must mean that everybody understood it. Thank you again so much for attending. If you have any additional questions that come up after this training,
Tsiry frozen. I think she's frozen, in which case I believe she was saying thank you for all participating. And if there are any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or through the New York office. Of course, I'm here in Jamaica, so I'm on the ground ready to help anybody if you need me. But great job, Tsiry. I thought it was a wonderful presentation, and I'm really looking forward to being able to glean all the information on our grants through the new portal.
Could I just ask, did Superintendent Martin get a chance to record the information as he requested? Superintendent Martin tried it?
Right, I did not record because the information was that it would be sent to us, so I think that is so I did not to record. Thank you.
Good, good.
Okay, thanks everyone. And good to see so many people who have worked with us before. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone.